Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Tales from the Rails, Episode 10, Percy and the Wind. It was a very windy day on the island of Sodor. All the engines had been working hard in fighting the wind. Percy had been sent to pick up some trucks. He was coupled up and he puffed away. When he puffed up the high slope, he was buffed with wind in his face. "Oh dear," said Percy, "this is going to be a very hard trip." And indeed it was. Percy went through the Bay Bridge. The wind howled through the gaps of the bridge. He arrived at the suspension bridge, but disaster struck. The gaps were wide at the suspension bridge, and when Percy came over, the wind carried him up. "Whoa," said Percy, and he started to fall over the edge. "Oh no," said Percy, "help!" Percy was on the edge of the bridge. "Help," said Percy, "help!" But the trucks wanted to cause him trouble. On, started to bump Percy. "Whoa," said Percy, "help!" He soon plunged into the sea, taking the trucks with him. The mess was terrible. Percy had to be picked up and bolstered on the barge. So Top Hat was very displeased with Percy. "Percy," he said, "I'm very, very cross with you." Percy had to be picked up by barge, and Sir Top Hat soon arrived. "Percy, I am very displeased with you. You should know how to handle trucks on a windy day. It is very easy to tell which way the wind's coming from. You should be more careful from now on." Once Sir Topham Hatt was inside Bulstrode's cab, Percy was confused. "How exactly is this my fault?" said Percy to himself. "I will get revenge on those trucks one day," he said to himself. But the trucks just laughed as Percy floated away. Bulstrode soon arrived at the dock, and Percy was about to be unloaded when a giant gust of wind hit Bulstrode from behind, and Bulstrode went flying over the dock and onto the tracks. "Bother," said Bulstrode. "I did not see that coming." Percy was very cross. His day had been going very bad. Meanwhile, Thomas was coming from Knapford Station. He had just left the station when he saw something ahead on the tracks. Thomas came screeching to a stop right before hitting Bulstrode. "Bulstrode," said Thomas, "what are you doing on the track?" "The wind," said Bulstrode. "Yeah," said Percy, "the wind." Thomas was left confused. What did the wind have to do with this? Collins soon sorted everything out. Bulstrode was put back in the water, and Thomas could puff away. Percy was left on the other side of the harbor. He had had a very bad day. But the day wasn't over yet. Ink came shunting in with the trucks that had pushed Percy off the rails in the first place. Percy finally saw his chance to cheer him up. Percy came sliding in behind them. "Hello, trucks." "Oh, great. It's the green puffball," said the three. This had just done it for Percy. He had had enough. "That's it, you trucks," he said. "We're going on a little trip," he said. He angrily shunt the trucks out of the docks. "Where are we going?" said the trucks. "Oh, somewhere," said Percy. Percy had shunted them to the Great Waterton Station siding. The trucks were confused why they were there. Once they thought they had been shunted, they let their guard down. Percy then continued shunting. "Whoa," said Rickety. "I think we've been shunted well enough already, Percy." "Whoa," said Rickety, "the buffers are coming near Percy. Percy, stop!" But Percy shunted him right through the buffers. The trucks were dazed and surprised at what had just happened, but Percy was happy. "Ah," said Percy, "so much better." Percy then puffed happily back to the sheds. A little bit up the line, Alfie was loading Madge with a package. "Here you go, Madge. This needs to be taken to the sheds." "All right," said Madge, and she set off. Madge soon came to the level crossing when disaster struck. Madge went over the level crossing and the wind came in. The package flew off right onto the track. Madge continued on without even noticing. The gates were soon open and Percy came rumbling down the track. Percy came up to the level crossing and saw it. He tried to screech to stop, but the wind carried him. Whoa! And came smashing through the package and landed off the track. The package was smashed and Percy was left off the track, but then another gust of wind came in. Percy went back, came flying off the rails too, and he tipped over. Percy had now officially had the worst day ever. It was too hard for the breakdown train to come. The wind was blowing its crane out of control. So it was Harvey to put Percy back on the rails. Percy was finally home in his shed, nice and warm, but there was still one thing that the wind hadn't done. Started to shutter his door. Percy had had enough and decided to just close his eyes.